going to be using the Greenly Air Scout, and the point of this is kind of works like your network. Throughout the house, it gives you a picture of what your wireless looks like throughout the house on 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz, and on 20 megahertz up to 80 megahertz per channel. We are going to set this main unit. This is going to be like your router, and it's going to sit right here by all that stuff. And we kind of had everything, did a Wi-Fi assessment, sort of a Wi-Fi assessment here earlier. We got the HAPs and everything in place, but we're just going to come back and test it and make sure and see if it covers the whole house out into the shop also. So main unit's going to sit down here. The rest of these little devices are going to be acting like the clients, your cell phones, iPads, you know, Xbox, whatever you'd be using. These are going to act like those. So we'll come back to you after we get these set up. Now that I've put all the client devices around the house, we're going. Each client device has its own number, and we're going to tell, program it into the computer here, what device is where, like what room they're all labeled. And then after we do that, we're going to run a test and see what kind of signal strength they are getting from the access point, if any. Alright, well, we got all the client devices out and they got them named. So this is the access point, which is right here. And then I got the other ones that are all laid out and they're named. We got 3 different levels. We got the basement, and then we got the main level, but then we got a 3rd level, which is the garage, because basement is below ground, the main level is above ground, and so the garage will be our 3rd level. I had to make the diagram of the house a little bigger because the garage cannot be its own building, so it has to almost be like it's a part of the house. So instead of clicking back and forth like that, we're going to show all of them at the same time. And then we're going to fire up our test here, and it gets a little cluttered with all the names of them on there, so we'll just shut those off. We'll start our test, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes when it's done. Okay, we are 100% done on our test, and we are looking at a heat map that shows our little devices around the house. So on our main level, we're not looking real great. You got a nice little patch of green in the center there. Green is good. You get into the yellow, it starts getting questionable. Red is bad. And then we got a DBM level, RSSI. Yeah, I like to see maybe in the 50s, maybe low 60s, 65. Maybe be okay if you're just surfing the internet, but you get down into this, then your high def video is gonna stream very well. So we're looking at the basement, and the basement doesn't look too bad. And then we jump up to the main level, and we're not looking real hot there on the 2.4 gigahertz with 20 megahertz channel. And the garage is looking terrible. Now we will put that over to interference. Not a whole lot of interference. That all looks pretty good where we are. Not a bunch of networks around. Baby monitors, wireless security cameras that run on 2.4 gigahertz. Some cordless telephones run. If they run 2.4, they could possibly be an issue, but doesn't look like there's any issues over here. And we'll look and see what congestion looks like, and that we're in the green there too, so that all looks really good. Now let's jump her over to 5 gigahertz, which is where we want if we're doing hardcore streaming. Congestion, it couldn't even pick that one up when it was testing for that, so we got 0. That wasn't even connected to our main device. But the upstairs and the downstairs, they both look okay for the congestion part of it, so there's not a whole lot of other stuff around. Interference, about the same way. we couldn't pick it up on the outside. That's why we're pretty much all in the red out there. Yeah, upstairs, downstairs, looking good. And we'll go to signal strength. Terrible. 2.4 gigahertz travels a lot better than what the 5 gigahertz does through walls and floors and things like that. So that's why we're pretty much all red with very, very little green on the upstairs. Basement doesn't look too bad again. So, all right, now to fix it, and then we'll run another test. We just finished getting everything straightened out. We got some new devices that were put in, and so we got 4 of these units. We got it's called a HAP, and this is what's going to be broadcasting the wireless network. Plus, it's got 4 ports on the back for hardwiring devices. We like to have them by TVs, you know, the streaming if possible, so we can plug in stuff like the TV, the PlayStation, whatever else the customer has around. And now we'll be running a second test, and we'll be testing our network capability to see if it is how capable it is to talking to the client devices that we have laid out around the house. So. Alright, well, we just got done with our test here, and it didn't work exactly the way I thought without, or connected with the garage connected up out there. Apparently these don't work how I assumed that they did. I assumed that the client devices would be communicating with these, the HAPs, the 4 of them we got around the place, more than what they did. Everything looked good on the in the house. Everything's nice and green, good numbers. We've got, you know, good signal strength through all of those. It's showing a max of 33 meg there, so we are looking good. And they only got 30 meg anyway, or 25, 30, something like that. So that is looking good. But we'll walk around and we'll run speed tests. I'll go check the signal levels on the outside with my laptop and make sure everything's good. So, okay, we just walked around the house and checked the different levels upstairs, downstairs, and out in the garage. Everything looked great in the house. We went out to the garage because the meter was telling us that it was seeing something different than what I expected. The meter is a good tool, but it shouldn't be your final say. You actually need to go out there, and I don't know if you could see that. Can you see that? No? Well, I got an app on my phone that measures signal level in RSSI and tells what channel that we are on. I went out there, the signal strength was super high. We run a couple speed tests. We run one on the 2.4 and one on the 5, and we were getting full speed there, so everything's working exactly the way it should.